Hello students, in today's class we are going to learn about user-defined functions. We have already learned about some functions like parseInt, parsefloat, alert, prompt and confirm. However, all these functions are written by JavaScript. We were just using the functions to perform a specific task. In some cases, we need some of the functions which are not provided by JavaScript. In these cases, we have to write our own functions. These type of functions where we write the code are user-defined functions. Let us see how we can write user-defined functions. A function in any language is set of statements that we require again and again. So like we were using parseInt function or prompt function again and again. If we define a function, we can also use that function as many times as we need. It is a subprogram to perform a particular task. Now the functions that we are writing, they are going to perform a particular task. They are subprograms. The functions help to make the program smaller. When we are using functions, we don't have to write the same code multiple times. Thus, the program will become smaller. Functions can be called in two ways. First, by calling the function. The second one is by using events. The functions that we are writing in the program will not execute on its own. For the functions to execute, we have to call the functions. We can call the functions in two different ways. The first one by explicitly calling the function. The second one is by using events. We are going to learn both the methods later in the program. Let us have a look at the syntax of the function. Syntax means the way we are going to write the function in the program. Function always starts with the keyword function. So function is the keyword indicating we are going to write a function. Function is written in lowercase. Space, function name. Now whenever we are writing function name, we have to follow the same rules that we were using for variable naming. After writing the name, we have to specify the parentheses, opening and closing parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we can specify the arguments if there are any. If there are no arguments, then also the opening and the closing parenthesis is mandatory. The arguments means the values which are going to be passed for further processing. After we have written the name, we have specified the arguments. We are going to start the curly bracket of the function. So, an opening curly bracket. Statements block. We can write any number of JavaScript statements in between the opening and the closing curly brackets. The statements that we are going to write will be the statements of the function. These statements that we write inside the function will be executed only when a function is called. So this is the syntax of the function. Let us understand how we can write functions with the help of an example. Students, here in the notepad we have a code displaying a function. Alongside, we have the execution of the program. Let us understand the code. Doctype HTML, HTML, head, the title specified is JavaScript, title closes. After title, we are starting the script tag. Script, language is equals to JavaScript, function, space, print. So function is the keyword, print is name of the function, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Opening curly brackets, document.write, hello. So here there is one statement of function which is document.write. After the function ends, we have to close it with the curly brackets. Script closes, head closes. Now students, here the script tag is written inside the head section. Earlier we had studied that we can write script either in the body section or in the head section or in both. In this case, we are writing the script in head section. After the head section, we start with the body tag. We have just written one word function which is going to be printed on the web page. Body tag closes, HTML closes. So here the execution. Now here it is showing only the word function which we have written in the body. It is not executing the statements which are written in the function. The statements in the function are not going to execute on their own. The function must be called. So let us see how we can call the function. So for calling the function, we have to write print, that is name of the function, opening and closing parenthesis. Let us save this and refresh. Again, we are not getting the output. We are getting the text as it is on the web page. Now, why it is happening so? This is happening because the calling of the function is a part of JavaScript code. JavaScript is going to execute only and only if we write script tag. So, before calling the function, we have to write script language is equals to JavaScript, and we have to include the JavaScript statements that we want to execute. In this case, calling of the function. Close the script tag, save the file, and now let us execute this function hello. Now here you can see that the function is executed and we are getting hello printed. If we want to print it in a new line, we have to use br tag. Br tag works as an enter. Save. So now hello is printed in the new line. We can execute the function as many times as we need. So let us execute one more time. New call and see. We are using br so that we can get the text in new line. Save this and execute. So here first time function script language is equals to JavaScript print. The moment it sees the call to the function, it goes to the function and executes the statements which are written for the function. When all the statements are written and it encounters the closing curly brackets, it comes back and it starts executing the remaining statements. So script tag closes, br new call. This is again a HTML statement and text will be printed as it is. One more time we are going to call. So again we have to use script tag, print, it goes to the function, it executes the statements and script closes, body closes, HTML closes. So this is how the functions work. Let us take one more example. Students, this is the program to find out if a person is eligible to vote or not using function. Whenever we are executing the programs, they start from the body tag. Body script language is equals to JavaScript vote. When it sees the statement vote and parenthesis, this is a function call. It is calling the function vote. It will search for the function vote. Then here it will spot the function. Once the function is spotted, the statements which are written for the function will be executed. So inside the function var age, age equal to % prompt. If age is greater than equal to 18, alert, you are eligible to vote. Else, alert, you are not eligible to vote. And closing of the function. Students, observe, this is opening curly brackets of if, closing curly brackets of if, opening curly brackets of else, closing curly brackets of else, and finally closing curly brackets of function. So whenever you are writing functions, you have to take care that the curly brackets are opened properly and are closed also. Finally, the script closes and head section also closes. It is executed the function. It will come back to the point. Script closes, body closes, HTML closes. So let's see the execution. Enter age 54. Let's press OK. You are eligible to vote. OK. F5, 6. Enter. You are not eligible to vote. So in this way, we can write all the examples that we have done till now using functions. Students, we can take input from user in two ways. The first method is by using prompt box. The second method is by using forms. Let us see how we can take input using forms. So here in the body section, we have added a form. Form, enter age, input type equal to text, BR for enter, input type is button, value, click. Let's refresh. So here you can see a form, enter age, a text box and a button. So what is expected is when we enter the value and we click on the button, at that time it should call the function. So how can we call the function? For calling the function, we are going to make use of onClick. OnClick is an event. OnClick equal to name of the function and opening and closing parenthesis. The function name should be enclosed within the double quotes. File, save. Again refresh. Let's enter a same value. Click. Now here you can observe when we write vote, it is calling the function, but it is again asking the age. If I enter 4, okay, you are not eligible to vote. This means the value which is written in the text box has not reached the function. So what can we do for this? For this, we have to write for form name equal to F1. We have to specify a name for the form. Also, we have to specify name for the text box. Students, you can use any valid name. After specifying the name, instead of prompt, we have to use F1, that is form dot textbox dot value and file, save. F1 dot T1 dot value is the value which is specified in the text box. Let's now execute 54. Click. You are eligible to vote. One more value we'll put 7 and click. You are not eligible to vote. So in this way, by making use of events, we can call the function. So here now we have studied events. Events are action performed by the user or an application. In return of the event, some particular task will be executed. There are various events. One such event is onClick. OnClick is mouse event. The next mouse event is onMouseOver. OnMouseOver means when the cursor is over the element, then it is going to call the function. Next one is mouse out. When you move out of the button or when you move out of the element, in that case mouse out will be executed. Let us try mouse out, save and refresh. 43. We come to the element, and when we move out of the element, the function is called, and you can see the result. Similarly, we have keyboard events also. Key up and key down. Key up is when you press the button and release it. And the second event is key down. Key down means when you are pressing the key. Let us revise a few points related to events. JavaScript is event-driven language. This means in JavaScript we can write events, and in response to the event it is going to execute a particular task. Events are actions done by the user or application. In the example we have seen, when the user is going to click the button, then a specific task will be performed. Thus, click is an event. JavaScript's interaction with HTML is handled with the help of events. Using events, we can connect JavaScript and HTML. Example, page load, click a button, press a key, etc. So these are the few examples of different events. Some common events are, for mouse we have on mouse out, when user moves the mouse away from the element. So when we have moved out of the element, then the event will be fired. On click, when the user clicks the mouse on the element. The third one is on mouse over, when user moves the mouse on the element. Next, we have keyboard events. First one, on key down, when user presses the key. When you are pressing the key from the keyboard, in that case, on key down event will be fired. Next one is on key up, when user releases the key. When you have pressed the key and you release the key, in that case, on key up event will be fired. So this is all about your events. Here we complete with the JavaScript chapter. Thank you, students.